What up? What up? Hey, everybody. I'm about to teach you guys the three basics of drawing. This is a speed video. It's not really a tutorial, just me as an artist give you some tips for beginners and so forth. Now, I've been drawing for a long time, since elementary. And the first process that I'm going to teach you is drawing. As you can see in front of you, this is a personal project that I was working on. And I'm going to take you through these three different clips that's going to explain, the little, you know, tricks and tips on drawing. Now, I have these up here, which I'm going to talk about references, starting point, shapes, and concepts. References is basically research, not only just for, the simplest things. For example, life drawing. Do research on life drawing or reference life drawing. What you'll see here is a drawing that I've done back in the past in 2009. It's a little girl. As you can see, that's still life drawing. Now pay attention to the cartoon version of a human being or whatnot. You can see that with life drawing, it can help you benefit making a world that is believable. Now that the whole reference comes from, how should I put it? Oh yeah, anatomy, still life, which I explained, from birds, trees, animals, to the little bugs, to even, not only that, technology and circuit boards. You have to draw those as well to get an understanding. That's references. Not only that, reference artists, reference their styles, reference their techniques. That is also a good turning point for any beginner. Now, biggest thing is a starting point. The starting point is a blank slate where you have nothing on there, and the only thing that's in your mind is the thought of the process of putting it on paper. Now, that's the only way that I have ever explained this to myself for many years. You have to have a starting point. Which paper, I'm sorry, where is your paper, your pencil is going to end up, and where it's going to begin or end. That's the whole process. Where's my pencil going to begin and where is it going to end? That's the biggest thing that an artist could ever possibly do at the moment. And that's, how you should figure out, the starting point of your paper on a blank sheet of, on a blank slate. Shapes. Shapes are important because that's what helps you form, buildings, a human being, a creature, alien, a gun, a ray gun, a TV, anything. Everything has shape. So, for example, the old photo that you saw of a little girl, I had to use shapes, circle, edging, all of that. If you can, Google, like for example, I said before, references. Google any type of references. Google shapes as well. So that way, you can get a concept of how you can, process whatever idea you have in your mind. Your whole imagination goes everywhere, and it could be able to go on the paper. That's something that I've worked on, and since then, since elementary all the way up to now where I'm at now. Shapes is very important because that's the only way you can get across of making a perspective, right? Perspective drawing I'm gonna give you is that you have a believable palette, like a believable page. Sorry about that. A believable page where it looks believable, as if you could stick your hand into it. That's a perspective. Like, it pops out, it looks realistic. It's as if, it's right in front of you, as if it's going to jump out of the page, like a pop-up book. And that's one thing that I have learned over the process. But Google, I sincerely say Google. Also, concepts. Like I said previously, about referencing, look at other artists' concepts, straight out concepts, like a video game, a comic book, a what else? A painting, techniques, old artwork, painting, ancient paintings. Look at those. Well, that'll also give you inspiration and help you on what you want to create. That's the beginning of the process that you could be able to draw in any circumstances where you want to begin as a new and then finish at the finish line. The next one I'm going to talk about is coloring. That's the second one, the second process. Coloring is very simple. It's very easy, but one thing is you have to have technique. That is point blank period. Technique, technique, technique. And what I'm going to explain to you is the biggest thing is color blending. Color blending. You have to be real thorough with color blending. Because I remember in my art magnet program back in middle school, for 3 years, that's how I'd be able to get, become better as an artist. Color blending. You can't rush it, and you can't do it too hard depending on where you're, setting up. And also color palettes. You can Google color palettes. With color palettes, you have different type of colors. If you have a painting, if you have, you have paint, you have color pencils, you have charcoal, uh, the color charcoals. Now you have black and white charcoal. The setup that's different, but still, they're based off of any type of artwork piece. That being said, blending is very fun. It's easy. What you have to do is you have to do light strokes at all times, so that whenever you get the feeling that you're ready to blend in another color, you can see the difference of how it works. Because as you blend, it'll simply make your colors seem to merge together and be able to brightenly lively, how should I put it? I'm sorry. Oh, it makes your colors more lively. Sorry about that. Try to get my thoughts together. It makes your colors more lively, as you can see in front of you. This little personal project where, as you can see, this little technique where I'm taking the apple and using that to where I'm making her skin as resemblance of the apple, as well as her hair is the green leaf. So that was the fun part, but the most part is like with the shading. Now shading is basically simple. You have to shade completely to the point where nothing is out of whack. It doesn't seem right to you. Sometimes I had to make sure, like seriously make sure that everything was right. Like I can't pinpoint where I want to put this, but let me figure this out. Like if I can put it over here, it might work because the shadows and where the light is going to hit and how this is going to look in my viewpoint, and how will this look to other people, stuff like that. You think it to yourself, where you want to place your colors. It's fun to just get a blank sheet of paper and try to color out everything and make sure that everything is, lined up. Okay, let me try the black. I know black is just a regular color, but I know it can add shadow. But then if I don't have black, let me try the brown and the purple, or the dark brown and the purple, because I know that'll help me out. Sometimes you might not have the black color, so you try something else. That's something I learned back in middle school during the art magnet program. So I was taught by some well-known top tier artists of all time, in my opinion, but also, old ancient things that can also benefit you. But one thing is this: when it comes to the colors, have fun with those, man. Completely. To any beginner, I say this: have fun. I know you might not like it, but as for anybody, grab a blank sheet of paper, you know, color up any type of color that you pick out of the coloring box or whatever, and try to blend it and see what you get. And that way you could get an understanding of, okay, this looks nice. It might match what I have in my head, it might, do well on paper, but let me see how I can do it with a formula. For example, as you can see, with light strokes, you have to it's a lot of layers, layer upon layer upon layer upon layers. And excuse me, sorry about that. And it's like layers upon layers, and you want to find the basis of it, where it's like, I can make this look really interesting, really extravagant, really tasteful, to the point where I am I'm comfortable with it. So, but I want to talk about the importance of the color palette. The color palette has many multiple colors. Now, you have the instructions where it'll tell you which goes which and which blends with what. The old basics, color wheel. We all that too. I want to talk about the color wheel too. The color wheel and the color palettes, right? You have those two basic little materials that can help you. For anybody who wants to be an artist, those are the biggest things that you could possibly ever run into. The color wheel is basically the whole old school basic yellow and blue makes green. You know, I'm trying to remember what else. I think you get the point. You know, the gist of it. It's like uh, you have, yellow and blue, it makes green. You have your basics, but when it comes to the color palette, you have like in squares, like they're all in squares, but they give you like different varieties. Like it's from dark to light. Dark to light, light to dark. And with all the colors, you have to understand the blending process. Just what I want to talk about is the blending process is just like what I said before. You have to have light strokes, and it's layers upon layers. I'm gonna say this one more time: light strokes and layers upon layers. You have to, stroke lightly to blend in the colors, and that way, you have a nice looking piece. I remember seeing kids like I remember when we was in school, and as little kids, you would press real hard on the crayons or any color, type of coloring a utensil, and it's like it looks bland, but it just don't pop. But it's just your work of art, and you like it anyway. Your parents like it, so. But one thing I learned is you can't do it that hard unless it is needed or necessary to you. But always start off. The first thing, always start off. Sorry, sorry about that. First, start off lightly, light strokes. You know, you make sure you getting all your blends in, and you dry different colors. Doesn't matter what it is, and that's the whole process of coloring. It's simple. Just those two things that I explained, plus the color wheel. And light strokes and blending. That's the techniques that all you have to do. It's light. It's not hard unless it's on the edges where shadow is being formed. That's one thing I learned. As you can see, the on the side of the woman's face, you can see it's a little dark because that's where the shadow applied. But yes, color and blending, color palettes and blending. The third one is inking, that you're going to see the process. Inking should be after you draw. I didn't explain that at the beginning, but this is because I was going through the process of finish up my work. But yes, inking. Inking is very simple. It's fun. It's easy. Sometimes it gets kind of scary at first because you don't want to mess up and be out of line. It's like, oh no, I blotted it. I don't know how I can fix it. So that's why it takes patience of small strokes, and also make sure you have a blank paper and you scribble on it, so to make sure that everything is it comes out much smoothly, and it doesn't blot out everything. Now, inking is the process where you make the pencil your guideline. The pencils are the guideline, and also as you use the ink, make sure you have an eraser on you. I want to talk to you about that. Erasing is not bad. I should have said in the first process of the drawing, but let me explain. If you mess up, erasing is okay. I remember when I was a kid, I would take a drawing, I would draw something, and if I mess up, and then I would erase a little bit, I would literally crumple it up and throw it away. Because I felt like, man, I messed up. It sucks. This erasing stuff, it makes them look bad. I need a clean sheet. That's what I kept thinking. But I'm like, it's not all about that. It's not worth it. Just erase and completely, take care of the other details later, because it's going to look fine regardless afterwards. The whole aftermath of it all. But inking is the process where you can make the appearance more lively. It pops more. It's you can make it thick, like real thick outlines, or you can make real thin ones, or you can make them in between where it's medium. The fun thing about inking is you could create so many styles. And one thing I know is this: when you ink, it looks majestic. I kid you not. When you ink, it looks majestic. That's why I say the whole inking process. when you first ink over your pencil drawing on your pencil line, you can erase it. You can erase all the pencil lines. That's your guidelines. After you erase it, you can see that the ink stays in place, obviously, and you can go over the ink again to where it could pop and make it more thick, as you can see in front of you after the whole process that I had made to make this, look more, clean, and it pops more. People can see what it actually is. The inking process is really, really fun. You take your time with it. Like I said, easy strokes. You can create styles, any type of style that comes in your mind, like cross hatching. You could do like dots, and then when I mean dots is like you dab like ink constantly. I've seen artwork where they have like multiple ink dots, and I remember I did this back in middle school. You have multiple ink dots. You could do everything with inking where your work would look so majestic. And the reason why I say that, because when you ink, it's more of like a roller coaster as you move your arm, but it comes out where it's like water. It's fluid, obviously, but it's like water, and it makes your work even more admirable and admired. In all honesty, that's why, with the inking process, is way fun. You don't have to rush into it. Try practicing, on a blank sheet of paper. Scribble out some random drawing and ink your way and create some styles. Make a thick, outline, and then create a thin one, and then make swirls, and then make swivels. Excuse me. And make any type of, like format, any type of technique that is cool to you, or it works, or it looks really, incredible. Make that, your mark. Make that your imprint, because every time you make these, typical styles, people might, have their own opinion. So if you can, like, try any process of, like looking at other artists and trying to see how they ink, because I would go on YouTube all the time and look at how they draw, how they ink, just to get me inspired. That's all you got to do, is like look at other artists, and look at how old worldly things, how they ink, how they used to do it back in the day. Something that could give you an idea of a process, something fun, something, not that critical. It's basic, simple and simplistic. It has its purpose, and so forth.